in September 2020, the British Council introduced an innovative partnership in digital English language teaching. Since then, the 3 projects have delivered initial results. I would like now to hand over to Davide Gil-Martin, Academic Manager, to share with you an overview of the fund and the 3 projects. The floor is yours, Davide.
Thanks very much, Vanang, and good afternoon to everyone in Vietnam and good morning to everyone in the UK as well. I hope you can see my slides now. I'm just going to talk just for a few minutes before handing over to the 3 projects that Dr. Hom and Donna McGowan have just been referencing, so we can learn a bit more about them. But before I do that, I just would like to talk about our work in Vietnam as the British Council, our track record in digital innovation, and also just give you a little bit of an introduction, a bit more detail about the Digital Learning Innovation Fund and the projects themselves before handing over to the 3 projects, and they can tell you about their successes over the last 12 months. So the British Council, for those of you who don't know, has been working and operating in Vietnam since 1993, and during that time we've worked very closely with both the Ministry of Education and Training and also the National Foreign Languages Project on a wide variety of projects and programs. Some of you may have been involved, for example, in our Vietnam Teacher Trainer Network or our Primary Innovations programs, or more recently on our Teaching for Success programs as well. And during that time of collaboration, we're constantly seeking ways to cooperate in order to support an inclusive and quality English language teaching, learning and assessment across Vietnam and across the education systems here in Vietnam. As I mentioned, we have a track record in digital innovation going all the way back to 2008, when we created what we call the Teaching English in Vietnam Virtual Teacher Support Network with the Ministry of Education. And then we also had another project with Nokia and Pearson back in 2013. And then later on in 2017 and 2018, we appointed consultants to do some research into various aspects of digital learning and online provision. And that brings us to the last year, to 2020, 2021, when we launched our Digital Learning Innovation Fund. And this was very much a response to COVID-19, which really hit Vietnam in 2020, in February of 2020. And then during 2020, throughout that year, the British Council globally created what we call a digital task force and offered many products and services on our Teaching English channel. You can see one example on the right-hand side of your screen there. And then, as Donna McGowan just mentioned, in September 2020 with DIT from the UK and the Ministry of Education and NFLP, we had a virtual ELT mission, and at that mission we announced what would become known as the Digital Learning Innovation Fund. And that was, the call went out in January of 2021, and through that call we received 9 proposals. And I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of the fund itself and the pilot. In terms of the outcomes, there are really 3 main outcomes. The first one, as we mentioned earlier, is very much to support Vietnam and its ambition to improve the teaching and learning of English through our partnerships and collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Training and the National Foreign Languages Project. But also through this fund to explore more inclusive and more accessible approaches to teaching and learning, particularly through digital technologies, online resources and educational technology. And you'll find out more about that in just a few moments. And the third outcome was very much to encourage collaborative partnerships between partners in the UK and Vietnam, which can generate new research, new insight and new innovations in teaching and learning through a variety of partners. The brief itself had 2 main themes. One was to look at piloting and co-developing digital content. And the second theme was to look at building capacity of teachers and teacher educators. And in just a few moments, you'll see examples of both of these themes being covered through the 3 projects. In selecting the projects from the 9 that applied to the 3 that were selected, we looked at aspects of innovation, of of collaboration, and of the impact that they would have. And you'll certainly hear more about that in just a few moments, as well as the quality and the value for money of those projects. So the projects themselves were selected in March of 2021 and then officially launched in May of 2021. And as you can see there on the right-hand side, this was our launch, our online launch event in May of 2021. And it's great to have Dr. Hum back from the Ministry of Education, and hopefully Sir Steve can join us. And on the screen there on the right-hand side, you can also see representatives from the 3 projects who you'll hear from hopefully in just a few moments. From the Digital English, first from the Digital English Theatre Project, we'll hear from Miss Ian from Cantor University. Then we're going to hear from ViVEXELT, the Vietnam Virtual Exchange for English Language Teaching, from Marina from Coventry University. And last but not least, from IH London, we're going to hear from Charlotte from IH London, talking a little bit more about their virtual mentoring and online CPD course for grade 6 teachers. So that's a very quick overview of the Digital Learning Innovation Fund and the 3 projects. And I'm now happy to hand back to Vanang, our MC for today, who will introduce the 3 projects so you can learn more about them. Back to you, Vanang.
Thank you, Davide, for the overview and outcomes of the DLIF project. Now we are moving to hear more from the perspective of project on their specific activity, summaries and findings, recommendation, lesson learned, and next steps. Each project will have approximately 7 minutes to present. And if you have any question for the presenter or for this project, please put them in the Q&A chat box. First of all, I would like to invite Dr. Phương Hoàng Yến, Cantor University, to share about Digital English Theatre Project by IH Belfast at the Hands Up Project and Cantor University. Over to you, Dr. Yến.
Thank you, Ms. Hoàng Vân Anh. So good afternoon, Vietnam, and good morning, UK. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, it's a great honor for me to be here today to celebrate the success of Digital Innovation Learning Funds, right, with you. And we are happy to be one of the 3 projects to be funded by the British Council. Our project includes 3 partners: International House Belfast, Cantor University, and the Hands Up Project. Our project has 3 main aims. The first one is supporting teachers to integrate digital English theatre as an innovative methodology into language learning curricula. The second one is to improve Vietnamese student communicative competence, engagement, and learning motivation. And our last aim is to support teachers and students in the use of new digital technologies in the classroom. So our project was divided into 2 main stages. In the first stage, we have teacher training. 40 teachers were invited to join the project, and they came from 4 universities: An Giang, Cần Thơ, Đồng Tháp, and Kiên Giang, and 3 high schools, which are from Bạc Liêu, Cần Thơ, and Sóc Trăng. So these 40 teachers were divided into 3 cohorts, and we have 7 sections of training for each cohort, and all of the training have been done online via Zoom. So this is the photo of the first training section of cohort number 1, and as you can see, we have a small group so that people can have close atmosphere, as well as can share with the trainers the difficulty or the challenges they have. And this is cohort number 2. And we have teacher from cohort number 1 and cohort number 2 being selected to become the trainers for cohort number 3 over here. So after trainings, then these are the performance of the teacher. I think this is a great chance. This is really learning by doing, by performing the plays by themselves via Zoom. We actually apply digital English theater by ourselves. and we understand the problems and the issue the student may have, so that we can share our ideas of how to overcome these problems, as well as we understand more clearly about the benefits that the student may gain from digital English theater. So after teacher training is a stage 2 student training. So we have a total of 1,215 students involved in the project. And you can see the percentage over here. Most the largest portion of the participants are non-English major university students. And the second largest group is other learner, and the third one is English major university student. So in order to have a look about what they have actually performed in the classroom, we have posted some of the outstanding script plays of the student in our Facebook page, Digital English Theater Project, which I'm going to send you the link later. So here are some performance of the student. And it's very interesting because the student did not just take the script given by the teacher, but they invented the script by themselves, or they used different fairy tales and wrote up their own new endings for the plays. And it's a process of learning. So students, besides developing speaking skill, they also develop some skill of writing, and also they do some reading. So that's good. We are happy about that. Okay, so after having the intervention of 6 weeks, then we have a survey on the teacher and student. With the teacher, we don't have the pre-test, but by the end of the project, when we ask them to evaluate the overall impact of the project on the student, you can see on this diagram on the left, you can see that teacher have very positive perception toward digital English theater in terms of its impact on student linguistic competence, skill, classroom practice, and others, right? We already had a presentation for the result and digital English theater in December. And I hope that the British Council can send you the link of that event so that you can refer back to when you want to learn more about our project. With students, we have the pre-test and post-test, and you can see that after a short period of time of only 6 weeks, we can see the improvement in the perception of the student. So already at the beginning of the intervention, the student have already high perception of highly positive perception of the project, but after 6 weeks, they even have even higher positive perception of the project, and we are very happy about that. So here are our take-home messages. So after the 1 year of the project, we learned some interesting things. The first one is that drama technique has a great potential in English language classroom. The second one is that digital English theater can be implemented with various group of learners. So at the beginning, people believe that only the young people can do that because they believe in the theory of total physical response, and they think that only young learners can do that. But after the project, we believe that various group of learners can benefit from this. And because we implemented the project during the time of social distancing in Vietnam, we discovered that digital English theater can be a very fun way to learn English in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. All of the student rehearsal, practice, and exchanges of ideas have been conducted online, but they have very good performance over there. So I hope that in the future, we may have some kind of plays that is performed by students, maybe from different parts of the country, not only from different parts of one city. And this is the link of the Facebook page of our project, where you can visit and see different script. And if you have any question, you can send a question over there in our page, and our admin will be willing to answer your question. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Ian, and you are perfectly on time because our timer just rang. And now I would like to invite Professor Marina Orsini-Jones from the Coventry University to share about ViVEXELT, the Vietnam Virtual Exchange for English Language Teaching. Over to you, Marina.
Hello, everybody, and nice to see you all here. I can see there are over 300 participants today. It's very exciting, and also hope we can carry on with interesting things we've been doing. So Marina Orsini-Jones, I'm a co-principal investigator for ViVEXELT, Vietnam Virtual Exchange for English Language Teaching. And I'm very sorry that my co-principal investigator from HUST cannot be here today, and it's thanks to her that we managed to have such a success. So I'd like to thank Tui, even if she can't be here, and Tui is here, and here is our team. So I just want to then thank Tui and thank the National Foreign Language Project and thank the British Council, which incidentally also created my career by sending me to Coventry back in 1984 when I became an Italian language assistant there and then moved to English language teaching further on. Anyway, so what we wanted to do, we wanted to address capacity building, as Davide said, and we also want to create communities of practice, as Steve has pointed out we should be doing. And we wanted to do it in a process-oriented way through virtual exchange, which is a technology-enabled, research-informed, people-to-people education program where people collaborate at a geographical distance, supported by facilitators and moderators. So what we also wanted to address was the National Foreign Language Project's main priorities at the time of COVID. So the intercultural skills you need, and these are very well highlighted in this telecollaboration kind of competencies grid by Gathen Helm, but also the Common European Framework, new skills required for teachers and learners, online interaction for ELT, particularly important at the COVID time. And also we borrowed a few ideas from very big experts, Mohersley and Walsh. So what the teachers need: technological competencies, online environmental management competencies, online teacher interactional competencies. So these are the kind of ELT competencies we were looking at. And so we created a course, and the course ran twice, in June and in October. And the themes of the courses were kind of collaboratively decided amongst us and our HUST partners and the other collaborators. So competencies for online interaction, teaching, speaking online, community grammar teaching online, tips and tricks to support online interaction and reflective practice for ELT. And if you want to know more, I've put the ViVEXELT website on the page. We think we've been successful. We've reached widely. And again, I want to thank my colleagues at HUST for driving dissemination and the British Council Viet Nam, particularly David and Nga. And so these are the numbers. And as you can see, we add on board teachers, teacher educators, and students in teacher educations from all sectors in Vietnam and in the UK. And we reached quite a lot of people, as you can see, and we also had dissemination activities, which also reached out to many people, as you can see in terms of numbers. The 2 symposia we organized, the webinar with the British Council, and also other conferences, because Tui and I presented at the Van Lang conference on TESOL. So in terms of reach, I think you can see we have reached most parts of Vietnam, again, cross-sectional. And this was quite exciting that teachers from all over, cross-sectional, they thought, primary teachers working with higher education teachers, they commented on how positive it had been and how exciting it had been and how productive it had been. So when we worked together, we also had people from the UK, from very different institutions, but also from an NGO, Coventry Refugee and Migrant Centre, with teachers who are not often offered CPD improvement activities, and they also gained a lot from this. And you can see the lovely blog on the website between Anne and Angela on how they learn from each other in this knowledge sharing experience. We also awarded quite a lot of certificates. Of course, not everybody got a certificate. They need to do some work for it, but we awarded 181 certificates, well above our original 120 target, and we're pleased about this. In terms of being pleased, we also like to see what people said. And I'm not going to read all this, but you can see the innovation, the novelty, the digital things that they're learning, but also the caring environment. And what we pride ourselves in this project is that we think we took away the anxiety about technology and lowered it a bit by doing ViVEXELT. So people found out they could be relaxed online, and there was support. They were motivated and inspired by us and amongst us, and we were friendly. This was an interesting theme which kept recurring, how friendly it was to be online. And so this debunking the myth as well that online is scary. And we were very pleased about that. In terms of outcomes, we have many successes, and many of these were really participant driven. So these participants, for example, said they wanted to know more about Genially. So the videos, we actually created a set of videos bilingual on how to use Genially online and with Socrative, and to create mystery areas in your online environment to get treasure hunts. But also we had a lot of participants who created this collaborative task, lesson plans based on the Sustainable Development Goals, which is quite a big theme at the moment, both in the UK and Vietnam. How can we address those themes? How can we make our lessons real and addressing real problems in real life? And so they created these very interesting lesson plans, which you can download. So if you go to ViVEXELT resources, you can click and download these resources. And I'm very grateful to all the teachers who contributed to this. If they're here today and they're hearing this, just post in the chat how it was, what you learned from it. And the beauty of this particular one I put in the center was a team who then disseminated cross-sectionally, and they taught the unit to different levels and adapted the lesson plan to the different levels. And one of the participants created a Facebook area, which is also linked to ViVEXELT, you can have a look at. The other thing is, of course, we have a little introductory video by me, and of course, more conference papers, more dissemination. So if you're interested in knowing more, please just look at this extra information on the website. Now, the other thing we did in terms of action research informed development, the biggest achievement, I think, and also the surprise achievement, was this creation of a breakout room guide, which emerged from looking at the NVivo results. People wanted to know more about breakout rooms. A lot of teachers had taught online, both in the UK and in Vietnam, but not used yet breakout rooms, and they really liked what they did. So we invited them to contribute to the creation of the breakout room. We had focus groups, and as you can see, this breakout room guide now exists. We want to make 2 out of this, I think, but it has already been disseminated and adopted by Robert O'Dowd in Europe for the Valiant Project, is already part of their resources. John Fowler, COIL expert and virtual exchange expert in the USA, has also asked me for this to be disseminated in the States. So we have a very powerful tool which was created with participants on ViVEXELT, and we are very proud of this. In terms of going forward, TUI suggested we could do workshops based on this breakout room, because it proved to be a very nice way of implementing what we have called the spirit of ViVEXELT, and I'm nearly finished, you'll be pleased to hear, Davide. This idea that it was a transformative experience. So it was process-oriented, we were sharing innovation, but also thinking and reflecting on what teaching English is about, and what our beliefs about teaching English are, and how they can change positively in view of what you learn online and with online tools. So as you can see, this is a nice tree, affected a lot, helped me realize, and on the whole, over 90% of the participants said they would like to continue with ViVEXELT, and they thought they had learned a lot from ViVEXELT and the experience of doing it. So I think I've actually managed to stay even below my 7 minutes, and I finished, but I've been told that in the discussion you can ask me questions about how we would like to take this forward, if possible. And I'd like to thank again the British Council National Foreign Language Project and all the people from HAST in Vietnam who were really nice to work with, and it was so powerful to be together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marina. You are very well under the time. And as you said, that any question relating to ViVEXELT, please put in the chat box. And last but not least, I would like to invite Charlotte Thompson from IH London to share about an open CPD self-assessed courses for grade 6 teachers. Thank you. And over to you, Charlotte.
Hello, hi. Okay, I'll just see if I can share my screen now. Great. Okay, lovely. Can you see my screen yet?
Yes, we can.
Yes, great, lovely, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, good morning, colleagues and friends. I'm Charlotte Thompson from International House London. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about our project that we ran with Hanoi Pedagogical University 2. We met as institutions through the British Council, and it's been a great partnership for us working together with the university. So our project is materials development and mentoring. And we did this with the junior secondary band in Vietnam. And our long-term objective was to work together to provide CPD and mentoring for the group of teachers, and then to produce an online digital resource that other teachers in Vietnam could access and use. So first of all, why materials development? Well, if you're a Vietnamese teacher, you know that with the recent curriculum reform, all the textbook companies have reproduced and upgraded their resources and materials. So at this time, teachers are working through new material, making decisions about what they're going to teach and how they're going to teach it with their classes. So this seemed a really good time to tap into that creative energy that's going on. The books are great, but as a teacher, you always have to think about what can I teach in the time, and then apply the materials that you have to your particular students and the challenges that they have. So this seemed a really good time. Also for the middle secondary kind of teachers, these junior secondary teachers, we understood that they didn't have that much specific training recently for this age group. So it also seemed a good time to provide this kind of support for these teachers. Okay. So the participants. We worked with 11 provinces across Vietnam. And if you're Vietnamese, you'll probably know where these places are. But if you're not, like us, we were wondering where all these great provinces were. So we were looking to work with places where maybe they had less access to digital resources, and to bring together teachers from very different regions. So we were looking at sort of diversity. So from these 11 provinces, Son La's right up here in the northwest, as an example. So we're looking at mountainous regions, and then Tra Vinh is right here down in the bottom of the Mekong Delta, and a coastal city. So the students are from different backgrounds, and the teachers face different challenges with their groups. So the 69 teachers who joined us were divided into 4 cohorts, 4 groups. So within each group, the teachers from different provinces were working together and sharing their ideas and their experiences. Okay. So the approach to the first part of the project was to collaboratively with the teachers, get them to focus on their learners' needs and what aspects of their lessons or their curriculum that they were using needed adapting based on their learners' needs, and then give them opportunities and ideas for how to support their students and how to extend their activities based on their students' needs, then to trial their ideas and to take them into the classroom. And the teachers worked very collaboratively together they designed activities and they gave each other peer feedback. They taught their ideas and some filmed their lessons or parts of their lessons and posted reflections. So there's a lot of teacher to teacher collaboration and critical feedback. And the teachers, we were very impressed with how quickly the teachers picked this up as an idea and how open and willing they were to share their experiences and to share their ideas. So the feedback from the teachers on that first part of the Zoom synchronous training and the asynchronous training, we asked them about their enjoyment and how supported they felt during the process. As a previous speaker said, it's very important to support teachers as they're trying to go through innovation and change. And we provided trainers from the UK and from the Vietnam side. We were both supporting and collaborating ourselves to support the teachers as they worked on their projects. We also asked them about their new ideas and their feelings of confidence and how ready they were to make small changes or large changes to the materials they're using with their students. Okay, so from this experience and working and mentoring the teachers, we then created a new online self-access course for teachers. And this includes ideas from the participants. It's open for all Vietnamese teachers. We work with the junior high teachers, but we also think this is relevant for the upper primary school teachers. A lot of the ideas would work with their textbooks. Our teachers worked with a whole range of textbooks because any school can choose their book. So in the course as well, we also address that, a wide range of the Vietnamese textbooks available. We'd really like now teachers to join our new course, either as an individual or as a group of teachers, because working together is interesting and beneficial. Okay, so here's an example. This is what the course looks like. These are the kind of topics that we addressed in the course. So skills, reading, speaking, listening, writing. Also, we look at safeguarding and diversity, and there are lesson ideas within that the teachers can use. In the course, it's quite easy to navigate. There's lots of tips and tricks. You can go backwards and forwards, and you can see how much of the course you've done to keep you motivated to go through to the end. Okay. We also have a mixture of different kinds of learning resources. So there's listenings, there's text to read, and there's recorded sessions with our trainer, Katie Kelly, which was always fun to attend for the participants. And then we ask the teacher to reflect, because it's taking the ideas back to the classroom that's going to make a difference to teachers teaching and learning. Okay, so if you'd like to join our course, we'd love to have you. This is the link, and we'll pop that in the chat box as well. And we'd really just like to say thank you to our partners and to the British Council for supporting us to do this project.
Thank you, Charlotte, for sharing the meaningful project, especially working with the grade 6 teachers. And everyone, we have just heard the sharing from the 3 project lists on the implementation and outcomes. To understand better the impacts of these projects to the Vietnam's education system, we are working with Wendy Arnold and Jemima Hughes from ELT Consultants on monitoring and evaluation to evaluate the outcomes of the DLIF and tax in the futures. For this panel discussion, we have Jemima Hughes from ELT Consultants and Mark Henbury, ELT sector expert from DIT, to explore lessons learned from the projects and possible next steps. Jemima will moderate the panel discussion, so please continue to raise questions in the chat box. Thank you. And over to you, Jemima, for moderating this conversation.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon to everybody. I'm sure, like me, if you're listening, it's been a really insightful series of presentations that we've just listened to. And I think it's very clear from what we've seen that they've all been very impactful, both in terms of reach, but also in terms of quality. And I think we all know that that a lot of hard work goes into doing this. To make things happen, to facilitate change takes a lot of work, and it often goes above and beyond what we had initially conceived or planned. So that's where I'd like to kind of start off our panel discussion today. So if we start with the Digital English Theatre Project, do you think you could share with us sort of what have been your key learnings as a project team, things you hadn't thought or hadn't prepared for that you had to find quick solutions to or ideas for? And also, if you could tell us a little bit about the partnership and how you made that work together. So if we could start with the Digital English Theatre Project, let's hear what you have to share. Okay, so maybe there's a technical error there. Can I pass the baton then to the ViVEXELT, to Marina? Could you share with us your sort of project learning, but also your team learning too? Thanks.
Yes, well, we, as I said in my presentation, I think we learned that some unexpected things can happen. So the breakout room guide was not a target, was not something we had expected to produce. But that came out of the research, and it came out of the reading through the feedback, and it came out of realizing that we had made assumptions about the use of breakout rooms, the way we use them in the UK, which were not applicable in Vietnam at the time. But participants were very excited about the breakout rooms and also challenged by them. So that was an unexpected outcome. And we learned that collaboration was key to that, because without having collected the information, without having done the focus groups, we would not have produced a breakout room guide, which is now considered to be quite unique in its kind, because nobody has thought of doing one. And so if you look in other areas, you can see even Zoom has produced some guidelines, but not something from the teacher's perspective and the user's perspective. So we were very pleased with that. In terms of lessons learned, I probably mentioned to you in our chat, we've learned that interculturally, we have to learn to talk to each other in ways which are interculturally sensitive. And even if I've been dealing with international projects for a long time, I'm still learning. And so perhaps I like a course in intercultural skills on Vietnamese things, because I feel sometimes I was saying things in ways that were, I don't know, we had some misunderstandings, but we, of course, then discussed them, because that's the beauty of intercultural exchange. So we could discuss and have a good relationship and iron them out. But it was interesting how we were positioned towards the issues and how we resolve them. So I've learned a lot from that personally, and also as a team. I think we've learned how to tackle challenges in teamwork in such a pressurized environment, because in 1 year, there is a lot to do. And we also were victims of our success, I think, because in the end, we have so many things to look at, so much data coming out of the project, that we have to learn also to decode the data better for future use. I think a challenge could be sustainability, because we want to keep the momentum going, but we also need a bit more support for that. But we're happy to do it on an informal basis to begin with, and we have all the resources people can use. But yeah, I think for effective sustainability, we probably need a bit of support. But I think sustainability is always an issue with projects, and yeah, we hope we can get your support, in fact, to help us making sustainable. I don't know if that answers your question, or if you like
yes,
to.
And it almost answers the second, but let's hand over also to the CPD, the mentoring project. Charlotte, would you like to share anything there too, in terms of your learning?
Yes, absolutely. As you said, the amount of time that you think things will take, it always takes way more. You know, that's always the nature of these projects. And you have to rely on the very goodwill of everybody involved in a project to pull it together. One of the things that we did in our project is we asked the teachers to film little clips of themselves. And that's always a lot of work for the teachers because of the permissions. but it's really so useful as a teacher trainer to see into a teacher's classroom and see their students and see how they approach their teaching. Because once you see that, you so much better understand their context and their learning. So that's something which was really quite difficult for everybody, but I think that was very, very useful for us to persevere with and do. And we're very grateful for the teachers who managed that, for sharing their work experience, their daily work experience with us. As a project team, I think you can't have too many meetings. You can't have, you just need that really regular check-in, and you think, oh, every couple of weeks will be fun. It's not, we found that we were needing to keep in touch with each other sort of constantly. Yeah. One more little thing I'd say is that surprised us. It was really great having 2 trainers, an English speaking and a Vietnamese speaking, because quite often the teachers wanted to check something in Vietnamese. And we couldn't follow that chat, but it was really efficient use of time for the teachers, and it was a really good connecting point for the teachers to be able to use their own language, which we couldn't have possibly done otherwise. That was a very interesting point for us.
Okay, as I have you, I'm gonna back to you the next question. So we're quite short on time, so I just want to ask you, moving forward, what would be your key hope for what you've done? How would you like to see it kind of embed itself into the education system?
Yeah, we would really like teachers to join our course. I think I'd really like groups of teachers or schools or another project to make access, make use of the learning resources that we've got. For example, if a group of teachers in an area maybe have a teachers activity group, a tag set up, and then can use the learning resources that are already there. I think that's a really good cross-project piece of work, and I think that would be really effective. Online self-access courses are really good resource. They're even more effective if there's an opportunity to really work together on those ideas with a group of teachers. Yeah, that's one idea.
Okay, great. And how about you, ViVEXELT, Marina? How would you like to see it?
Yes, I think we had also a bit of what I like to see from phase 1 to phase 2 of our project. So the participants became trainers in part 2. They became mediators into the breakout rooms, and we created training for them. So I like to see more dissemination of that. I like to see more of the participants adopting the process-oriented way of doing CPD through virtual exchange and using it to do more training and do it with other international countries as well, not just with the UK. So there is already experience in the team. So there are people like Anga and others who already done virtual exchange, but for learners only, I like to see more teacher training dissemination. And it has started, but as just mentioned by previous project as well, sorry, I can't remember your name, it's just, we also need to have, I wouldn't say face-to-face, but Zoom to Zoom support. You can't just have the online side without some contact on Zoom, some virtual exchange mediation support. So I think it's the ripples of ViVEXELT I like to see going. And if possible, because I strongly believe that virtual exchange is a new way of doing postmodern CPD. So it's where you create agentification, you create autonomy, and the learners take control of what they're doing. If possible, to have more of it, and possibly even at policy level. And we have some policy people here, whether we could impact on policy making, because it's making a way in Europe and in South America. But I wonder whether virtual exchange could also be adopted as a way of doing CPD in Vietnam.
Okay, thank you very much, Marina. I don't know if we have time to also ask the Digital Hands Up project. Anne, is there time, or do we need to move along as you are the MC?
Jemima, if we have the Hands Up project, it's good that they can share.
Yeah, I think so too. That's great. Thank you. So Yen, are you here?
Yes.
Can you unmute?
Yes. So I really project for the English tutor actually. So our project is digital English theater, right? So
Yes.
yeah. So in terms of challenges, I think that the biggest challenges come from the teacher themselves. So at first, before they started the project, they have kind of a little belief that they can do it, right? Because it's not very common in Vietnam for teacher student doing kind of performance or doing performance, and especially in English, right? But after the step-by-step instruction of the trainers, that we are familiar with it, and it's more interesting that we do it online. Yeah, so they are kind of digital problems involved, but we happily recognize that we can overcome them all as long as we have a strong belief that we can do that. So after the teacher experience that themselves, they are ready to transfer it into the classroom. And now for some university, they all have already planned to have kind of events where they organize kind of competition between group of students so that they can have digital plays so that we can share on our website, on our Facebook. Yes,
that's excellent.
And we have new visitors to our Facebook page every week, and we are happy to have more people coming and see. And we have a plan to publish our experience in form of a book in which the participants are going to write their individual experience of how to implement into their different English classes. So that's hopefully by the end of this year or next year, we will have that book published.
And what's your big hope? Because this moving in English into not only a digital space, but also a theatre, what's your vision for this? How would you like to see this project, this idea, this model grow bigger?
I hope that more people will know about this project because it's fun. And you know, when the students find learning is fun, then they can learn with ease. So research have figured it out like that. And we hope that our project will be implemented in the future in form of more people know about it. And then we are ready to disseminate our experience to other teachers in form of a presentation or a workshop. We have a ViVEXELT conference this year, and we plan to have a presentation over there where we share our experience. So Miss Nguyễn Thị Mai Hữu will be there, I think so, because it's organized by the National Foreign Language Project. And we hope to have one or two presentations over there in form of experience sharing over there.
Excellent. Okay, well, I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody listening. I think a big congratulations. You've all done a lot of work and the results are all very impressive. So well done, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Jemima and other speakers sharing your work on the DLIF project. And I see that there will be kind of exciting time ahead of learning from the previous experience and applying widely in Vietnam.